If you know anything about me, you probably know that I like to fish. And I fail a lot when I fish. You probably wouldn't know it from my Facebook posts because I only post pictures of the big, wonderful fish that I catch. But there are a lot of times when I go and I don't catch anything. There's times when I go catch things that I don't want to catch. I think the last time I went, I caught like 5 sticks. And then the time before that, I caught a sock. Who catches a sock? That really is Stinky results. That's the title of my message. But I've learned this from fishing. It's a lot about endurance, because there are times when I've gone fishing and I don't get 1, 2, 3 hours. I only get one bite the whole day. But lo and behold, that one bite might be the biggest fish I catch all year. That seems to be a pattern. That I catch big fish when I only catch one fish. And that's taught me endurance, to just keep, change the lure up, change the tactic up, but you got to be faithful when you're fishing. Exodus chapter 5, verses 10 through 23, we learn a lot about faithfulness. Faithfulness. And you may recall where we were last time. Moses and Aaron confronted Pharaoh, and Moses told Pharaoh that the Lord wanted Pharaoh to let his people go so that they could go and worship. And Pharaoh said no. In fact, he said, I'm going to increase your labor, the labor of the Israelites. So let's look at verses 10 through 23. So the taskmasters and the foremen of the people went out and said to the people, Thus says Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Go and get your straw yourselves, wherever you can find it, but your work will not be reduced in the least. So the people were scattered throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw. The taskmasters were urgent, saying, Complete your work, your daily task each day, as when there was straw. And the foremen of the people of Israel, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten and were asked, Why have you not done all your task of making bricks today and yesterday as in the past? Then the foreman of the people of Israel came and cried to Pharaoh, Why do you treat your servants like this? No straw is given to your servants, yet they say to us, Make bricks. And behold, your servants are beaten, but the fault is in your own people. But he, that's Pharaoh, he said, You are idle or lazy. You are idle. That is why you say, Let us go and sacrifice to the Lord. Go now and work. No straw will be given you, but you must still deliver the same number of bricks. The foremen of the people of Israel saw that they were in trouble when they said, You shall by no means reduce the number of bricks, your daily task each day. They met or confronted Moses and Aaron, who were waiting for them as they came out from Pharaoh. And they said to them, The Lord look on you and judge, because you have made us stink in the sight of Pharaoh and his servants, and have put a sword in their hand to kill us. Then Moses turned to the Lord and said, O Lord, why have you done this evil to your people? Why did you ever send me? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has done evil to the people, to this people, and you have not delivered your people at all. Moses confronted Pharaoh. Pharaoh obstinately refused to let the people go. In fact, Pharaoh responded by increasing their labor. The Israelite foremen, the managers of the work, appealed to Pharaoh, but are rejected. So they turn on Moses and Aaron. And therefore, Moses feels like a failure and begins to question God. What do you do when you do your best and you only seem to get stinky results? Well, here's our main idea. Be faithful through failure because God is not finished yet. Good lesson for us today. Be faithful through failure because God is not finished yet. Part of the dynamics of this book of Exodus, is the reality of a power struggle. power struggle, not just a contest between Moses and Pharaoh or Israel and Egypt, but it's also a power struggle between the Lord and the false gods of Egypt. Not that they are really gods at all, but God is going to prove to his own people and to the Egyptians and Pharaoh and to all that are watching and those of us paying attention today, he's going to prove that he alone is God and that the Egyptian religion is false and idolatrous. But he's going to do that on his own time, on his own schedule. And we remember that the Lord told Moses that this conflict was going to escalate before being resolved. But that's still an abstract idea for Moses, because he's living through it. He's living in real time, and he feels the sting of failure and rejection. And I'm sure we've all been there sometime in our life. So what should Christians do when we feel the sting of failure, the sting of rejection? Well, we need to be faithful through failure, because God is not finished yet. Let's have a word of prayer before we continue. Heavenly Father, we do pray that you would bless the reading and the exposition of your word, that you would speak through me accurately and efficiently to deliver your message to your people today. May they be encouraged, challenged, uplifted, and rebuked where necessary, that we only might be drawn closer to you and learn to walk this Christian life a little bit better today than we did yesterday. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, this first section, verses 10 through 14, I've just labeled, Thus Says Pharaoh. Thus says Pharaoh. If you look back at verse 1, Moses and Aaron confronted Pharaoh and said, Thus saith the Lord. And I think this is a prophetic formula that you'll see throughout the rest of Scripture. Thus saith the Lord. But how did Pharaoh respond? Well, the Lord who? He doesn't know the Lord. In fact, he thinks that he is Lord. He says, no, I am Lord. In fact, I'm going to prove to you that I'm Lord in Egypt. I'm going to make you have twice as much work. So Pharaoh sends out his slave drivers in verse 10. And guess what their message is to the Hebrews? Thus says Pharaoh. See the contrast? Thus says the Lord? No. Thus says Pharaoh. Get back to work. And because you've entertained this nonsense, no more straw for you. Same quota, same demand for bricks, but no more straw. Find it yourselves. So in verse 11, we see that the people of God were what? Scattered. Scattered throughout the land, looking for stubble. Instead of straw being given to them so that they could grind it up and mix it with the mortar and the bricks to make good bricks, they had to go out into the fields and try to find leftovers that they could use to grind up. They were scattered. And the Hebrew foremen, the managers, the leaders, the work leaders, look at verse 14. They're physically beaten and pressured and discouraged. Why haven't you got your work done? Get her done. You can feel the whip cracking at their backs. And I thought, what does Satan and his devils want for us today? Well, to be scattered. He wants Christians to be scattered and divided and discouraged and beat up. And Satan is involved in any religious system that's not true faith. That's what's going on here. It's not just a conflict between Pharaoh and Moses, or the Egyptians and the Hebrews. This is a spiritual conflict. From a human perspective, this first round appears to have gone against God's people. They are beat up and scattered and discouraged and dismayed. Think about it from Moses' perspective, too. This is an application point. Commentator Glenn Martin says this: just because you have a message doesn't mean people will listen. Just because you have a message doesn't mean people will listen. Moses did everything right here. I mean, he's had his doubts in the past, but he did what the Lord told him to do, and he failed. Well, did he really fail? No, he did what he was supposed to do, but he didn't get the results that he was hoping for. Why didn't Pharaoh respond? Well, because some people just have hard hearts. That's what we learned about Pharaoh before. When I think about Isaiah, who was told to go and preach to a people, but God said they're not going to listen. In fact, that message carries on to the message of Jesus in the Gospels. Go and preach to this people. That's why Jesus said, he who has ears to hear, listen up. Because some were not doing that. And I don't know, I've learned that you can't really do anything about that if people are hard-hearted, except for pray for them and wait, trust God to work. Because that heart work is God's work. And Pharaoh has a hard heart. He's not open to God's will. He thinks he's God after all. Why would he? You know, sometimes you can have a dump truck load of facts and just evidence and data, and people are going to believe what they want to believe. They're going to respond the way their hearts respond. Hopefully, if they're born-again believers, you can pray for them and continue to dialogue, and that will hopefully have an effect on them. But if not, I've learned this, it's really not best not to argue, especially with unbelievers. You pray for them and your family and your friends. It's hard to do, and I'm not very good at it. But when you know somebody is wrong because of the Word of God, what it clearly says, pray for them. That is the main reaction, the main thing Christians should do. Moses learns that lesson pretty quick here. Just because you have a message from God, no less, doesn't mean people will listen. Thus says the Lord? No. Thus says Pharaoh. Get back to work. Verse 15 through 19. The story continues. I've labeled this section, you are lazy, get back to work. That's Pharaoh, not me. I'm not saying that to you. It's just a title. It's just a label for that section. You're lazy, get back to work, Pharaoh says. So these Hebrew leaders, they're foremen, they're construction leaders, not necessarily spiritual leaders. They appeal to Pharaoh about this situation, about the bricks and the straw. And I noticed that. They didn't go to Moses and Aaron. They don't even ask help from the Lord, not that we know of. They appeal to Pharaoh. And that means to me, in my mind, that they might have put faith in Yahweh back earlier in the chapter, or chapter 4, but practically speaking, Pharaoh is still their God in Egypt. They go to Pharaoh and say, how can you treat us like this? We can't make bricks without straw. This is impossible that you're giving this task. It's not our fault. It's your people's fault for taking away the straw. What's going on here? Well, obviously we saw it. They're discouraged, and they're afraid, and they're hurting. They're hurting. And when people are hurting, I've learned there's two common reactions when people are hurting. They do one of two things, and we see both of them in this passage. First, they want to revert back to what is familiar and comfortable and safe. And what is familiar for the Hebrews, even though it's a horrible situation? Well, they're used to Pharaoh. They're used to Pharaoh being their God. They're used to a normal workload. It's almost like a battered woman who keeps going back to her abusive husband or boyfriend. Why would anybody in the world do that? Because it's better than being on the street. It's better than being risky or not knowing. At least they know how to deal with it and what to expect. I'm not saying that's a good situation at all, or that they should do that. That's a heinous crime. But that's happened. They revert back to what's familiar. That's part of what's going on here. The other reaction we'll see in verse 21, and that's hurting people lash out at others. We'll get to that in a moment. They lash out at Moses, especially when they see them at fault for their situation. But for the meantime, Pharaoh gives these Hebrew foremen the boot. Look at verse 17. I like the New Living Translation with its bluntness. You're just lazy. Lazy, I say, lazy. That's why you want permission to worship in the wilderness. You want a holiday. Get back to work. So in verse 19, these Hebrew foremen realize that they are in trouble. This is bad news. The appeal has failed. The quota is the same, no straw for bricks. They've already been beaten up. It's only going to get worse. So what does that mean for us? What can we learn today? What's the larger implication? Taking these details and broadening them out for our application, it's this. We must not assume that obedience or faithfulness will increase our comfort. We must not assume that obedience will increase our comfort. It's long been in the heart of humanity that if you do the right thing, especially with God, things should get easier. That's part of why we do it. We want things to get easier. And that's just as popular today as it was 3,000 years ago. But that is not always the case. In fact, often it's not the case. This is an error that we need to avoid. Because God is not obligated to fulfill His good plans for us on our time schedule. He does have good plans for us. He's got good plans for Christians. He's got good plans for the Hebrews. But it's going to happen on His time schedule. And in the meantime, He's teaching us to trust Him. He's teaching us to love Him more and to work through those things, build on our sanctification, get more holy and closer to Him. God is not obligated to immediately alleviate our suffering just because we're trying to do the right thing. In fact, Paul used evidence of his apostleship that was the opposite. He said the evidence of his obedience was that he was beaten, that he had hardship that he faced. Following Christ in a sinful world is just hard. When you obey God, you may lose friends, you may lose a job or two, or miss out on a promotion, maybe lose more than a night or two of sleep. It will cost you something, and we need to be aware of that and trust that God has a long-term plan that He's unfolding. We must not assume that obedience will ease our comfort. Comfort will come when the war is won. When Christ returns in glory, consummates His eternal reign in the new heavens and the new earth, that's when lasting peace and comfort will come. But for now, in the meantime, there's conflict. There's conflict. In fact, Jesus said that. He said, don't misunderstand me. I didn't come to bring peace. I came to bring a sword. There's going to be division in family, division in communities, and divisions in our nation because of the gospel. And that's what we see here, a supernatural conflict. Good versus evil. God versus the foes of Him and His people. So Pharaoh says, you're lazy. Get back to work. Concluding verses 20 and 23. A section I've labeled, Moses, you made us stink. Moses, you made us stink. Moses and Aaron are waiting for the Hebrew foremen to come out of Pharaoh's court. They're there. They know that these foremen have gone in to confront Pharaoh or to appeal to Pharaoh. And they're waiting to see how it turns out. And they come out, verse 20 says that they met, or more literally, confronted Moses and Aaron. And like I said, they're hurting. They lash out at Moses and Aaron because they're hurting. This is your fault, Moses. You blew it. I don't know what you said, but it was an epic failure. The Lord is going to judge you for that. Did you see that phrase in there? The Lord judged you, Moses. You made us stink. That idea of an unpleasing aroma to a deity. In fact, you've given them a reason to kill us. You've put a sword in their hands. This is your fault. And you can almost visualize them stomping off as Moses and Aaron stand there with their chins on the ground. We don't really know how Aaron took it. I can imagine. Aaron turned to Moses and said, I told you so. We don't know, though. We know how Moses took it. Look at Moses' reaction. This attack, I see bringing up all those insecurities that Moses had. All the doubts come rushing back. But Moses does the right thing. He takes it to the Lord. Now, he could have just disappeared, thrown up his hands. I'm going back to shepherding sheep. At least they don't talk back to me. You know, he could have done that, but he didn't. He takes it to the Lord. And it's easy for us, because we're so far removed from this context, and because we know the rest of the story, it's easy for us to look down on Moses. God said this was going to happen, Moses. I mean, come on, pull it together. Put your big boy pants on. The Lord is on His throne. The Lord's in charge. How many times have we heard that? Or even said it? But I know as a leader who fails on a regular basis, that in that moment, platitudes are about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. And I've learned this. You might as well be honest with God because he already knows your heart. Just like David in the Psalms, you might as well just be honest. If you feel it, tell the Lord about it. He can take it. The Lord is a grown-up. I mean, don't be blasphemous. I'm not saying that. But when you're struggling and hurting, and lay it out before the Lord. And that's what he does here. Moses says, why have you done this evil to your people? Now, the word evil there isn't necessarily moral evil. It's more like calamity or disaster. This is a disaster, God. Why did you allow this failure? I mean, surely you felt like that in your life on occasion. Why did you ever send me? Surely you've experienced something like that. I mean, let me be honest. I felt like that. Even here. You know, God, I'm trying to do the best I can. I've tried the best know-how, and things have only gone from worse to worse. You know, why am I here? Why am I here in this job? Why am I here in this situation? God, why did you put me in this relationship in my life? Because I don't seem to be making any headway at all. You know, unless everything has always just been hunky-dory for you, you live in a state of perpetual bliss or denial. We've been there with Moses, haven't we? So listen to this application point. Because doubts are a normal part of following God, we must patiently work through them. Because doubts are a normal part of following God, we must patiently work through them. We need to learn to be honest with God. Confess your struggles and your failures as if He were your best friend and Father. And patiently work through them. Get in counseling if necessary. I've done it. I've done it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. A failure is not final if you're learning and growing. You hear that? A failure is not final if you're learning and growing. And a failure is never final when God is the Lord of your life. Moses says one more thing, paraphrasing it in verse 23. Ever since I did what you said, Pharaoh's done nothing but put us in a vice. A full court press. There's a football game tonight. A blitz. It's been nothing but a blitz from Pharaoh. And you haven't come through yet. You see that at the end of verse 23? God, you have not delivered your people at all. Can you believe he had the boldness to say that? Talking about coming boldly to the throne of grace. But hey, he's honest with God. Some of us have been walking with God for decades and have never been that honest with God. God, I did exactly what I was supposed to do, and these are some stinky results. What do you do when you've done your best and you're only getting stinky results? Be faithful through failure because God is not finished yet. And I don't mean by that keep doing the same thing over and over. I don't mean that. But I mean faithful to God. What He wants you to do. Following the Word, following the Holy Spirit in your life. Be faithful. Quickly, just glance down at verse 1 of chapter 6. A little preview. Chapter 6, verse 1 says, But the Lord said to Moses, Now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh. I don't know about you, but I just got the Jesus chills. Now you're going to see what I'm going to do. I was just setting the table for this situation to unfold. In 1902, the poetry editor of Atlantic Monthly returned a stack of poems with this note. Our magazine has no room for your vigorous verse. Do you know who the poet was? Robert Frost. In 1905, the University of Bern turned down a doctoral dissertation as irrelevant and fanciful. The writer of that paper was Albert Einstein. In 1894, an English teacher noted on a teenager's report card a conspicuous lack of success. It was Winston Churchill. You baseball fans, who holds the record for the most career strikeouts? Do you know? Reggie Jackson. Over 2,500 major league strikeouts, but also 563 home runs, 14 seasons as an all-star. He was the World Series MVP twice, and they won the World Series 3 times. His name is Mr. October for his performances during the playoffs. Struck out over 2,500 times. It's a good thing he didn't stop after 100, or 500, or 1,000, or 2,000. Be faithful through failure, because God is not finished yet. Let's close with a word of prayer.